Good afternoon, everyone. I am very delighted to be on this TEDx platform. I am not qualified to be called an achiever or an influencer. Therefore, the ideas that I am sharing here will be from a commoner's perspective. I wish to speak about education because I believe that the educational opportunities that I got helped me to stand before you and deliver this talk. I wish to take you to the story of three generations marked by the questions of opportunities, equality of opportunities, and quality of opportunities. I was born to an ordinary middle class family in a village in central Kerala. My parents, who were born in the late 1950s, could not complete their education due to lack of opportunities. In fact, opportunity is a multi-dimensional term. It does not exclusively mean to have a chance to be somewhere with better possibilities. There are many social, economic, and cultural factors associated with the term opportunity. Along with my parents, millions of people from that generation in India lost the opportunity to complete their education. All this happened due to lack of adequate education infrastructure, financial problems, family pressure, and workforce requirement in agriculture, etc. We may find more reasons if we explore further. At the same time, I appreciate the people who sailed through those harder times, completed their education, and made significant achievements in life. You may know the most fascinating and inspiring story of Dr. K.R. Narayanan, India's former president, who had overcome the hardships and struggles for education with determination and hard work. I was fortunate to be born in his neighboring village. These are stories of exception. Have you ever thought about those who were not fortunate to have educational opportunities, whatever the reasons be? When India got independence, we had just 2.5 lakh graduate students. That was less than 0.01% of the total population. In the next 2 decades also, growth in the education sector was relatively slow. Our nation could not make use of the actual potentials of those who did not have access to school and college education. As I grew up, this thought continues to disturb me, and I decided that I would pursue my studies at any cost till all the possibilities are exhausted. I believe that I could do justice to that. Later, with a researcher's curiosity, I began to observe the skills and aptitudes of my parents and others who belonged to their generation. I found my father as a multitasker and a fast learner. As he realized the value of education, he spent a major chunk of his earnings for our education. I consider my mother as a great mentor for me and my brother, though she was an ordinary housewife. She was so determined to ensure that we get educational opportunities and we use them at the optimum level. Her memory is elephantine, and still she does not use a telephone directory. I remember one of our semi-literate neighbors who was tech-savvy and learned to repair television on his own, that too within weeks after he got electricity connection at his home. I could narrate so many such examples, but time does not permit me. I realized that if my previous generation had good educational opportunities and their potentials were fully utilized, the fate of our nation would have been completely different. Now you may gauge the real cost of educational opportunities that we failed to create. Moving on to our generation, born in 1980s and later, we had reasonably good educational opportunities in terms of infrastructure, though it was not applicable for the entire country. In Kerala, school education was universal, compulsory and free of cost. But the higher education opportunities were dependent on merit and parents' ability to invest. Since then, our generation began to face another fundamental question: the equality of opportunities. Still, the debate is going on in India, particularly in the context of various reservation policies. Let us not get into the politics of that. The question of equality of opportunities has never been a comfortable one. For us, we had opportunities, but limited and decided by merit. Our classrooms were more teacher and content centric and obviously one-sided. Merit was exclusively decided by the examination results. As you know, this era witnessed a boom in tuition classes and coaching centers across the country. Being students, we had to take part in a system which is more examination oriented, but provided less space for creativity, self-assertion and participation in the academic discourse. Those who were good at scoring in examinations were celebrated and the underperformers were brutally neglected despite their other exceptional skills. I have a close relative who struggled to clear his engineering examinations but possesses exceptional artistic and mechanical engineering skills. That defective notion of merit, clubbed with the drawbacks in instructional designs and assessment tools, to a certain extent undermined the notion of equality of educational opportunities. This complex scenario made an impression that all students are not equal. It inevitably led to an unhealthy competition among students, parents, teachers and even schools, and instilled the spirit of survival of the fittest. I can recall many of my classmates who were displaced by the ruthlessness of those faulty systems and the defective notion of merit. Now the past is gone. Learning from the mistakes in the past, we need to move on. We entered the third phase where quality of opportunities matters. You could see a paradigm change in the education infrastructure, pedagogical measures and assessment patterns. Now, state-of-the-art smart classrooms are very familiar to us. I'm not saying that everything is fine here. Yes, we have still miles to go. We cannot put our children in a situation driven by the 18th century ideas, 19th century systems and 20th century methods. As we witness the digital revolution and the emergence of information society, students have better platforms to access knowledge and acquire skills outside the classrooms. In 6 years, I taught around 600 students at the University of Delhi. From the interactions with them, I realized that students are aware of the academic dynamics in the top educational institutions across the globe. They get instantly updated with world events and current affairs. They are driven by the passion to explore the new terrains of knowledge and ideas. They are not ready to compromise with quality. If we do not realize it, we are destined to fail the aspirations of these 21st century learners. As I understand, the widespread student unrest in Indian universities in the last decade were fundamentally due to decline in quality. The quest for quality leads to certain complexities that requires subtle attention. My son is 5 years old now. I can recall well the days when I was 5-year-old. I realized that my son's knowledge level and skills are better than mine when I was 5 years old. Immediately after he joined the play school at the age of 3, we used to get lot of apprehensions about his lack of interest in learning. As a parent, it was a reason for worry. Even I feared that he struggles to make use of the educational opportunity, which is qualitatively much better than what we and our parents got. Almost a year before, he came and asked me to put the password of the phone as he wants to watch cartoon on YouTube. I told him the 4-digit password. He entered it rightly. Then I realized that he knows and recognizes the numbers. Later, he never asked me for the password because now he remembers that. This small incident helped me to assess him and instilled me with confidence as a parent. While we strive for quality of opportunities in education, it must be with a sense of compassion and commitment. The learning process should be interactive, customized, experiential, and joyful. The learning outcomes should enable a person to acquire life skills and make him or her a good human being and capable of bringing changes in the society. Lectures may fade, but the values will never. I had a good chemistry professor. Now I am not able to recall any of his chemistry lectures, but the environment values that he imparted through out-of-syllabus discussions in the class still resonate. During this COVID pandemic, digital and online platforms extensively facilitate the learning process. In the post-COVID phase also, this trend may continue with certain modifications. But the digital space creates new forms of divide and inequality, particularly in the developing world. Policymakers and educationists must properly address this issue and set their priorities right to provide equal and quality opportunities to every child. With utmost conviction, I request the parents to provide your children with good educational opportunities. It will help them to chase their dreams. It will bring prosperity to your family, and you will achieve a sense of fulfillment in the latter part of your life. Also, it will be your contribution to nation building, as our future is in our children. I think here it is relevant to quote Khalil Gibran's verses on children. His philosophy helps me to understand the mysterious generation gap. The verses are, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive hard to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. Thank you.